Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dawn and this is Beauty and the Diabetes. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a get ready with me, but it's going to be a story time about the time when my neighbor attacked me. The neighbor is no longer living here. She used to live in the slot next to me. You could probably see out the window, a different RV that way. They're so much nicer and so much friendlier. But I'm going to first get started with the makeup and then we can get into the story time. So I have everything laid out here. If I forget something, I'll just go along. So I'm using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer for my primer today. So I'm just going to start and put the primer on and we'll get into it. What happened was, I had a neighbor next door. She has had a lot of problems in her life. She has a son that ended up in jail because he ended up in jail for killing her other son. I'm just going to put that out there right away. So her family has had a lot of drama, a lot of issues, but that wasn't really it. It just, I don't know if it was from her upbringing or if it was from her family life when she was younger or her relatives or anything else. She really is a manipulator and I cannot stand when people are manipulative like that. I kind of had a feeling about her from day one, and I almost always, my first impression of people is usually right because I have a sense, I don't know what it is, that people are sometimes off. And because we were neighbors and she was so close next door, I put it out of my mind. And I said, no, I'm just going to give her a chance. I wanted her to have a chance. I didn't want to be a mean person right up front or just avoid her altogether. But I should have paid attention to my instincts at that point in time. For a while there, I think it was like between 2018 and 2019. No, from 2019 to 2020. Mid-2020, she really treated me like crap. She went all over the park, gossiping about me, spreading lies, spreading rumors. I was like, I don't even interact with her that frequently. So I was like, okay, I guess it's in my best interest. Just keep to myself and not bother with her. But during the pandemic, I'm using the Undone Beauty concealer. Oh my gosh. In 410 Porcelain Light. That does not look like porcelain light at all. But she just, she had a lot of problems. And she made up a lot of stuff about herself, about her family, about her kids, about everybody. That her brother, he has stage 4 cancer and that he's dying. And I found out none of that was true. But she really just rubbed me the wrong way again, and my husband was like, you should stop feeling bad for her. He felt bad for her and said, see, she's okay. I wasn't really sure what else to do with her. But I'm going to use the brush that I use for my foundation to kind of blend this in. And I apologize if you hear my insulin pump in the background. She had a problem over the winter, the previous winter, with mice in her RV. She had mice in her RV because she was basically not keeping her RV clean. She tried sealing everything up. She did have a hole from her slide on. She had a super slide like I had in my old RV, but there's a separation in the bottom where they could get in. And she had so many holes in the RV. I mean, I don't know why. I assume that because she wrecked it, basically. So last summer, towards the end of the summer, probably around August of last year, she'd been having really big problems. And she kept blaming the other neighbor on her side of causing all the problems. That neighbor got a Ring camera because of how bad she is. And, she go up to her window at night, which I found out she was like screaming out the window. She was punching holes in the side of her RV inside. I mean, these walls are very thin as it is. If you put a hole in there, you're literally, your hand is like right outside. I mean, she just drove everybody in here crazy. And from her gossip, a lot of her gossip about me, it like ricocheted back. And I found out a lot of things that she said. And some neighbors did believe her, and they don't want anything to do with me. I said, if you believe with gossip, I don't want anything to do with you either. I'm the type of person, I'd rather be alone than be around people that are like that, or talking about me behind my back, which I'm doing right now, but I'm telling you a true story. So one night, she calls me. First she texted me, then she called me to tell me that she's having a really big problem. Okay. I waited. I mean, it was really late at night. I'm going to be using the It Celebration Foundation. This is the old one. I'm trying to finish this up. You can see I hit hard pan pretty good. I tried to scrape as much of it off as I could. I couldn't get it off. So I went over to help her, and she was having, she said, a mouse problem. A big mouse problem. And she would like scream that she was seeing thousands of them on her walls. So she was screaming at me about she had thousands of them, mice, all over her walls. And I went over with it. I tried to convince her there's nothing there. There really was nothing there. Look, we gotta like calm down and let's go through this and see what's going on. And she just would not stop with that. She had been throwing those cubes. I don't know if you see those cubes on the advertisement on TV about mouse. I don't remember who makes it, but the little cubes. But they take it back to their nest or whatever, and they eat it, and they basically boil their own bodies to death. That's what she had been throwing on her floor, and all of a sudden, she comes out of her RV and she's just flipping out. The first time I went home and then I went back. So she was flipping out, thinking that, oh boy, here we go. And she showed me her microwave. I have the same microwave here, which I don't know if you can see it. It is screwed in and it's up. There's a plate that's under there and there's a space about that big on each side. So she pushed those cubes under her microwave, the same like this one, because you can go in the other closet right here and get into that microwave space. My old RV, it was different. It was a lot bigger. It was set in and down, and bolted in. She just kept saying, see, you see them under there? You see them under there? I was like, yeah, okay, let's calm down. I'm trying to appease her to get her to relax. Because I also know that she was using meth heavily, as well as marijuana. Marijuana, I have no problem with. I'm going to be using the Found Beauty Baked Bronzer. This is a video I wanted to make a couple of months ago. I wanted to be absolutely certain none of this went back to her, because I think she's crazy enough to try something again. But she's really not allowed back in this park anymore. And I tried appeasing her as much as I could, but there was really no appeasing her. I went back over there to see what she was doing, and like the mice, I said there's nothing wrong, and then she suddenly just went into a total freak out. I mean, freak out the entire neighborhood. And I was telling her, look, there's nothing there, don't worry about it, you're fine. And I calmed her down a little bit. And then we were cleaning up. I'm trying to help clean up some stuff in her house, RV. And she is over there taking the cubes out and throwing them on the floor in her bedroom. Which she had a fifth wheel like I had. And I told her, no, you got to pick that up. And she did pick it up. She did pick them up because she had a dog that could get into them. And you're going to kill your dog if she gets any of that in her mouth, you're going to end up killing your dog. That completely set her off. I think I blame myself for saying that, but it was true. So she just went nuts on me about that. Told her, to relax. It's okay. We'll figure this out. Which, I mean, I should have just walked out, but that was my mistake for not walking out. She freaks out. Oh my God, my dog ate one. I'm like, look, she didn't eat it. Don't worry. And it ends up where, you got to help me. She's screaming at me. You got to help me save my dog. I said, relax. She's okay. She didn't eat it. And we ended up outside. She's outside with the dog, has this poor dog by her collar, and she didn't have a leash with her. She just ran out with the dog in the collar. And I'm trying to tell her, she's fine. You're gonna end up killing your dog. She comes over to my hose, because my hose is out in the front of the RV, which is that way, the way of the street. And she's cursing and screaming at me, put your effing hose on, you stupid bitch. Literally called me a bitch right to my face. Okay. And then she's dragging the dog over to the other neighbor across the street. And she's screaming at him, help me with this effing hose. What the F is wrong with you? What the F is wrong with you? And I'm telling her, look, you're going to end up killing your dog. She's trying to shove the hose down the dog's throat. I said, you're going to kill her. You're going to end up killing her. Stop. Stop it. Stop. I just don't remember all the details exactly. But at that point, she had knocked down the other neighbor. He was half asleep. So she went to try to knock me down, and it didn't work. But I was having really bad palpitations. I'm using the blush and Laura Geller's in the Baked Blush in Brighton in Tropical Hues. And that was when my husband came outside and said, enough of this, come back inside. I went back inside my own home. I was still having palpitations, and I told my husband, call an ambulance, because I don't know what's going on. Ooh, that is a lot of blush. He calls an ambulance. Ambulance comes. I mean, they took me to the hospital because they didn't know, I have a cardiac history, so they took me automatically. And the cops show up, and she does not like cops. Cops don't like her. They had a valid reason to not like her. I'll just say that. And let me see what I'm doing now. Okay. So I'm going to put my eye primer on, and then I'll set the eye, and then we'll come right back to the story. I just wanted to clarify one thing. Before my neighbor tried to knock me down, I was struggling with her to get her dog away from her. It was well over 20 minutes. I was fighting to get the dog away from her so she wouldn't be, injured or worse, killed, because she had that hose in her throat. And so I just wanted to make sure you understood that, because this is a long process. I'm thinking of it as it went along. From what I was told, she was literally almost buck naked in the street because of her clothes were falling off her in the street. One neighbor told me that. Okay, I'm going to use the ColourPop shadow that I got in the AIA Beauty box. This is the other palette. That is the Neon Gaze palette. But I wanted to comment and say that this yellow in the center, the Slowscape, right on their website, it says that that shadow is not to be used. It's not made for use around the eye. So the same as the other one in the other palette. So I won't be using either one of those shadows from that palette or this palette. So for the crease, I'm going to go for the shade here in Drive. When she did all of that, the neighbor's Ring cameras picked it up. The park's internal cameras that are around the park picked it up. And the neighbor that actually got the video said, you want to see what it looks like? I said, I don't want to see it, but they saved it to the cloud, just in case anything happens. Like, oh God. She said, don't worry, it wasn't you. And she even said, you really fought her off good. I said, well, I was trying to fight her off good because she's crazy. Oh, that is really powdery. She tried to spend a lot of time apologizing to me after what she did. I really, at that point in time, because of all of the nonsense, the lies, the constant BS, she pulled, I wanted no part of her anymore. And I literally sat. If you guys haven't seen my other RV, I have a playlist of tiny home. My table and my desk were on that side of the RV. She literally stood right outside the window of my RV, right on the line, peeking in the window and trying to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry what I did to you. I'm sorry that you made me attack you." I swear she said that to me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's my fault that you attacked me? Are you for real, lady? And I took the curtain. I had curtains on my windows, and I just shut them because I didn't want to talk to her anymore. And then everybody in the park after that was being nicer to me because of what happened. Because they knew, oh yeah, she's the problem. I said, well, you took her side, so I don't care. Then, as the story goes on, she made herself out to be this woe is me victim here. The park, they spoke to her and they wanted her out. That was the last straw because of apparently she was causing other problems that I was completely unaware of with other people in the park. Well, at some point right after she left here, she allegedly went to another campground, and she told me the campground she went to, and things were going on. I did not know what was going on. And someone had said that they had called. Someone else answered the phone and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, she died." And I'm like, are you kidding me? She died? What happened to her? No answer. Nobody could answer me. Nobody was telling me what was going on. So I was like, this is a little strange that all of a sudden she dies because of what's going on. I didn't know what was going on. It's like, okay, I'm going to see if she's actually at this park. I called the park that she claimed that she was at, and she was never at that park. But she made a mistake, because when she called me, she actually called me, or someone called me from her phone. It pinged her location, and is at a location down in a town called I think it was Upper Mount Bethel, PA, at a campground down there. And it's just as rural there as it is here. I'm going to be using the shade Beets. This one right here in the outer corner. Hopefully I can get it right. And the one friend that she had here, another friend who was also a user like her, I told her what happened, and she was devastated. She was all over Facebook. She was saying, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to miss you forever." And I told her, no, I don't think she's gone. I think she's pulling this to get away with what she did. The park owner here was going after her for rent, which she lied, and she was about 6 months behind in her rent. That means she was spending it all on meth or things that she shouldn't be using. The one friend of hers here that was devastated decided after all of this, she's still going to be friends with her. I even told the woman, after all she's done to you, after all the nonsense, after all the lies, you're still going to be friends with her? You are out of your freaking mind, and I don't want anything to do with you. And the other neighbor that was on the other side said, yeah, that's the best thing you can do. I said, I can't have that woman anywhere near me ever again. Let's see, did I do that side right? I'm so busy talking, I'm forgetting what I'm doing here. What ensued was that the park owner and the former manager said she was doing things at night that I didn't know about, and it was being picked up on the camp camera. And she'd be outside roaming around at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in her underwear, walking her dog. I'm like, walking your dog? God. At 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in her underwear. And everybody could see it. I did hear her one night because I could hear her door opening and closing because she slammed like a maniac. And you could hear the whole RV shake when she did that. And I peeked out, and she's standing out there in her underwear smoking. I don't know what she was smoking, but it didn't smell right. For the lid, I'm going to use the shade Future right here. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I do have a palette that I got in the Credo Friends and Family sale last year. It's a Johnny Concert palette. I forget the name of it. I will put it in the description box below. I'm trying to see. Yeah, that one's close. Okay, so yeah, it's this one. Okay, so I'm going to use this shade Future right here first, and then see how I work that guy in. Ooh, very, very pigmented. Yeah, it's very glittery too. Okay, it's okay. It's a lot deeper than I thought it would be. So after all that, with her at that, allegedly at that campground in a different town, she left and said that she put her RV in storage. And she ended up moving into a building in a different county where another neighbor moved to. And it was like one big soap opera with these two, because he was, I don't know what his problem was. I know he was injured on the job. Oops, I turned my light off. And he was friendly with us, but she was so mean to him for the longest time. And then all of a sudden he just turned on us and went with her. I said, good, I don't need people like that in my life. I don't need that kind of nonsense. So for the Johnny Concert one, I'm going to, I want to see which one is the closest one I want. This one right here, towards the inner corner, but nothing but drama. And the front, the one here, whom she told was devastated, is now really close friends with her again. But from what I've been told, there's a lot of drama. I said, I don't get involved in drama. I don't like it. I don't want anything to do with it. It's not something that is on my radar. It's just that people, these are grown adults. These are people in their 50s and their 60s. They're not like, you know, in their late teens, you know, very young adults, or in their 20s, or, you know, even in their early 30s. These are people that are well-seasoned adults, well into their 50s, 60s, and close to 70. Yeah. I mean, she hung around with another person locally. If I told you guys the story of this area and the nonsense that goes around here, even in a very small town, everybody knows everybody's business. So if one person does something, we all know about it. And this is a woman who's in her 70s she's hanging around with, and they're doing meth, they're having a good time. I'm not into that nonsense. No. Okay, so I'm going to use this peachy shade here as well. This peachy shade. I like that shade. I've used it before. It's really nice. And let's see if we can just get that right there. It's kind of like becoming a big mess. Oh well. All right. So for the liner, I'm going to use the deepest shade here. The shade Kinetic, but I want to be really careful because it's super soft when it comes out. Yeah, that's pretty pigmented. And just a little bit below. Ooh, no, way too thick. Do it this way. Okay, and the thinner one. For the brow, I'm going to be using the pencil that came with the AIA Beauty Bundle. I'm really liking this ColourPop one. Even though it's a little difficult to use, it actually works really nicely. And it reminds me a lot of the old IT Cosmetics, the Brow Power, but they're the one that is really tapered and precise. Brush through these things. And I've been using the e.l.f. Enhancing Lash and Brow Serum. I don't see any difference, but I've only been using it for a few weeks now. Maybe I need to give it a little bit more of a try. And I'm just gonna finish drawing these guys in. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of drama that surrounds this person that I'm talking about, because she, as I said in the beginning, her family is like completely off the wall. Completely off the wall. They are not normal people at all. And I've never encountered anyone like this in my life. And I've encountered a lot of people. I worked in Wall Street, and I worked for H&R Block. I worked for myself. You know, I did a little more research about her family, this woman, after the fact, and I got something in me told me to call and see about, you know, her brother, who lives in Staten Island, New York, because that's where she's from. And she had told me that, oh, her brother was divorced, his kids left him, and his wife is going with some other guy. His wife answered the phone, and she lives there. The kids live there. Everybody lives there. So I didn't get that one. I said, I guess everything she said was a lie. She also said that her sister was dying, that her liver was shutting down because she was a heavy alcoholic. This is the one I waited to be sure that there's no chance of her finding out about it.
Nut job?
Did you hear what he said? He called her a nut job. That's right, the nut job.
Who are you talking to?
Myself, I'm making a video.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
I'm yelling at the camera. He's asking me, who am I talking to? And I said, myself, like the former neighbor. Yeah. So I found out that that was a lie. Also, about her sister wasn't dying at all. It was all such a lie to garner sympathy, so she didn't have to face what she had been doing to people. Which to me, she really took advantage of us. And I mean, we gave her money, and one of the other neighbors gave her way more money than we did, so it was not good. I mean, we know we'll never see that money back, and I don't want any contact with her anyway. So I don't care if she sends it back to me or not. She can go donate it to somebody else who's in need, or donate it to her hospital stay when she goes off the wall. I have no idea what she's doing. I really don't care. You know, she's harmed too many people around here. She harmed one of the other neighbors. She told everybody stories about him. And it was disgusting. And he even had enough of her. Oh, and the kicker was her car wasn't really running well. So she needed the car fixed. She had borrowed money from the neighbor across the way. That's the one she knocked down. And she didn't have it to pay back. She was supposed to give him the car in exchange for her not having to pay him back, because it was an old car. It wasn't a great car. It was a Subaru, but I don't remember what kind of Subaru it is. She basically abused the car to death. When she first got it, the interior was pretty good, and then it wasn't. It looked terrible. Like people have been living in it. She was supposed to leave the car here for him with the key by the lake outside the gate, so it wasn't right inside the park, and the key was supposed to be staying in there and he could take possession. She took the car and never gave him anything. And then, right, she just took it.
Yeah, in the middle of the night.
Yep, as my husband just said. In the middle of the night, she came back because she knew she wasn't allowed back in the park. That's why the car was supposed to be left outside the gate. I think I showed you guys a video when we first moved in here about 3 years ago, that how it was set up, the gate and all, and the creek that goes all the way around. But this woman causes nothing but trouble everywhere she goes. She would brag to everybody in the neighborhood, oh, I'm such an empath. Everybody knows I'm an empath. The priest called me an empath. The doctors called her an empath. The dog called her an empath. Everybody called her an empath. But no, I'm an empath compared to her. Was I could sense that it was something way, way off with her. Way off. She burns every bridge right behind her with no possible chance of getting it rebuilt because she just doesn't want to. And that's the kind of woman she is, and I feel for her because her own daughter wants nothing to do with her because of the drama. Okay. So I'm going to go off camera and finish the lashes and figure out the lip after that. Okay, so what I did was I used the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. I like it. It's still my own standby. It's one I've been using for, what, about 7 years now? Okay, so for the lip, I was going to use the Rituel de Fille. This is another one I got in a Credo Friends and Family sale last year. And this is in the shade, let me see the shade, Prey. P-R-E-Y. That's this shade right here. I thought it was a little too cool to go with this look, so I'm going to use the Inica liner and my e.l.f. plumping gloss. So let's just get this guy on. Keep going. And I'm using the e.l.f. plumping gloss. I always forget the name. It's Mocha Twist. So, I mean, I really hesitated about doing this video because I wasn't sure how it would go over, but I'm sure you guys understand that you can't control everything. Especially when she was standing right outside my window begging me for forgiveness and then getting mad when I shut the curtain. And he shut the curtain too. So don't talk to her. So now you guys know some of the crazy stuff that goes on in an RV park. This is the final look. And my story time of the day my neighbor attacked me. I mean, I know that this is not a video that I normally make because it was such a crazy ordeal with that woman, and I'm glad she's gone, and he's glad she's gone. We're all glad she's gone. And yeah, so let me know what you think of my crazy neighbor story and my look. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I upload videos again. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.